Today's story. I think I once told you that many times to find the story takes me much longer than to prepare the night, for better or for worse. I'm trying to get stories about Rabbi Yoel, and it's not easy to get it, to wade through it all and to hear them. Anyway, so I'll tell you a personal story. Kind of, I think I may have shared this in a Fabrengen or this year. The first time I heard Rabbi Yoel Fabreng, and that was as follows. I came the first time to New York was Elul Tovshin Lamed Hey, 1975. So 1976 is my first Tishrei. Without that Tishrei, that SUKKOS, it was an historical SUKKOS because it was, as I told you, a torrential downpour for virtually the 7 days. I'm not talking raining. I'm talking you are drenched sitting in the sukkah after a minute. And everybody knew at the time, when he found out later who this was. There came out an answer from the Rabbi to printed the back of the Sichos, but the Rabbi explained that like everything, turned the whole thing around because the Mishnah says, the Mishnah in the Sefta Sukkah, when it rains, the first night Sukkahs especially, it's like a servant who brings his master a cup of water, and he takes the water and pours it on his head. Sounds familiar? Not a good sign. And here it's 7 days. So the Rebbe turned the whole thing around, that the Eibishter wants this year to enjoy Sukkos with absolutely no distraction, that we are compelled by Pi Halacha to be inside the house, so that the Simcha should be perfect. A whole long answer, that was the gist of it. In fact, the Chassidim didn't do that. We sat in the Sukkah and got drenched and hardly ate. That was the end of it. And the one who wrote in, I don't know if you know this, Chaim, this answer was a response to Benjamin Zilberstrom. Benjamin Zilberstrom was a bocher. He comes here, lost his wife. I don't know if you know that. He stays by me, a wonderful chassid. He took me under his wing a little bit. This lost bocher from Australia, and he in many ways, like it's a natural mashpia, Benjamin, and he just looked after me to some degree. How am I doing? He sat down with me. Anyway, I didn't know. I don't think anybody knew, but he wrote into the Rebbe that if SUKKOS going to all, is found out throughout Yiftzah Lulav, and aside from that, all the programs, it's not shaykh, everything was cancelled. What does the Eibishter want? He felt, and again, the Mishnah, so he's a Bocher wrote this, and thanks to him, we got this beautiful answer. Anyway, so I remember this is the first or second night of SUKKOS. I'm walking from I was staying by my sister's apartment, but she was in Kurla then. My brother was in Kurla, Yosef Gutnik. And I remember walking to 770, coming there, drenched. And I figured for sure it's going to be a Fabrengen, and then coming to New York, one of the big things, of course, coming to the Rebbe, but also sitting to Fabrengen. Anyways, it was a famous Fabrengen there. The Fabrengen was not in the Sukkah, it was not Sheikhted. It was actually upstairs in 770. And there's little windows, these colored windows, and the Sukkah is adjacent to it. And the people of Fabrengen were two people, Rabbi Mendel Futvas and Rabbi Yoel. And when they said L'chaim, they picked up their head through the window and said L'chaim. That's how it was. Anyway, Rabbi Mendel succeeded in this mission to get Rabbi Yoel completely, after a lot of L'chaim. I remember that Rabbi Mendel wanted to say L'chaim on like these big cups, and Rabbi Yoel refused. Only on the L'chaim, you say in the Kelechkot, but after how many? And one thing I remember that Rabbi Mendel was saying, SUKKOS Yoel, it's in Tanya, Geras HaTshuva, in the Perek Aleph, that just says in Yoel about fasting. I don't know what he meant. It could be Yoel's writes. Yoel writes that as the Sichos HaMoreh, SUKKOS Yoel. I don't know what he meant personally. Just remember that ringing in my ear. Anyway, Rabbi Yoel took a lot of mashke, thanks to Rabbi Mendel. And then he said the following, which for me, an Australian kid, was a big shock. A boy coming from Australia and everything else, but to hear these words, now, if I'm saying it to you, I don't think it's going to shock you, but this is 1976, and this was, he only said it to Rabbi Yoel after he was completely, after so much mashke, I don't think, as I recall, they had to kind of help him walk out, he couldn't walk. This is what he said. Basically, I'm running out of time, but the essence of what he said is it comes out, these are the words, that the chidush of our Rebbe, in the whole divine realization of the ultimate purpose, is more radical and greater than the Chiddush of the Baal Shem Tov over pre-Baal Shem Tov. It's a huge statement. So this was a big revolution. We wanted to explain why. The Rashvi, the whole explanation. Quite simply, in simple language, the mamshir, godliness from one rung to another within the realm of godliness, is also a big revolution. To begin the process of descent. In the realm of godliness. But to bring godliness into the world from the last rung of Ruchnius, the lowest rung, but into the physical world, that's a much more radical. And that's when that's at that time, the Mivtza Mezuzah just came out then, around that time. And already then it was like he was saying then, if there's something wrong, then we made it that to be a health issue, panos issue, check the mezuzahs. And now it's like Zerur de Rigur, everybody does this, the whole world is doing it. But like, what's mezuzah got to do with someone's not feeling well with it? That he made the Ruchni so real that there's a problem, check the mezuzahs. The two worlds are merging. And it became normal and natural. Aside from Shlichus, they were just beginning then, it was taking off. Shlichim everywhere and Mivtzoyim. Anyway, but that was to say this, he had to be after, who knows how much Mashka was such a radical statement to say. Now it's already, you forget, wow, it's this and there, it's done. Wow. This was like, 7 o'clock in the morning. So that's the first time I heard him Fabreng. I heard him Chazada, I heard. But Fabreng was the first thing I heard him say. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Bracha, Batzlacha on every level.